Hello, welcome back to part 12 of our Fighting Fantasy Gamebook review, and I'm starting to lose track of what we've done now. So we've done all the Green Spines, we've done all the other books, we've done all the role-playing games, we've done, what else have we done? We've done the Chronicles, what else we got? We've got Sorcery Epic, we've done the Riddling Reaver, Clash of the Princes, Out the Pit, and now we're going to try and mop up. But I mean, what we're going to do, well, we're going to try and mop up all the rest of the stuff that we got here, and we might do one last episode of this, so we'll tell you about that at the end. So yeah, so come back after the staircase bit.
Board Games 4K.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to do is look at some of the novels that were written, and I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't read these. We've had these since they were released, but I've never actually sat down and read them because I was more worried about other stuff at the time, so maybe I'll sit down and read them. But these are the Zagor Chronicles, you can see that, yeah, Zagor Chronicles. We've only got book number 1 and book number 4, so yeah, I don't know. These are really expensive now. You get these on eBay and they go for like 100 quid each. You know, some of them do anyway. But yeah, so we haven't got Skullcrag or the other one. So maybe we'll pick them up in one day. But yeah, these are written by Carl Sargent, and it says Ian Livingstone on there, but I don't think he had anything to do with them. And I don't really know what these are about. So it says to have a look at the back of the book. So it says the storm clouds of water gather over magical lands, blah blah blah. Firestorm is the first tale, foreshadowing the coming of that dreaded necromancer to the fabled world of Amrilia. So yeah, Firestorm was sort of, maybe it's an origin story, and this one, Demon Lords, the fourth one, the fate of the world hangs on the courage and skill of a barbarian, a dwarf and a wizard in their final battle. So they must be taking on Zagor. But like I say, we haven't read them, but the Zagor Chronicles, there's 4 books in this series, and yeah, there you go. So the next thing we're going to look at is some other novels. This one is the Trolltooth Wars. It's written by Steve Jackson, and we read this back in 1988. This was written 1989, so we did read this back in the day when I was a child, but I haven't read it since. And it's something to do with Balthus Dire, I think, if I remember correctly. The Kingdom of Salamonis comes under threat from Chad of Darkmane. The Kingdom of Salamonis comes under threat, and a champion of court, Chad of Darkmane, is summoned to undertake a perilous mission. Somehow he must turn the war to the advantage of Salamonis, as he must prevent bloodshed and chaos of a victorious army's invasion in the Vale of Willow. Will Chad of Darkmane succeed in his quest, or will Balthus Dire and Sir Harridan Mars undead prove victorious? So yeah, so it's the 3 amigos of Fighting Fantasy thing. You can read more about these 3 geezers in Titan of Fighting Fantasy thing, but I haven't read it since. It's actually £3.50 back in 1989, which is quite a lot of money. But yeah, Trolltooth Wars, novel by Steve Jackson. Second one, I think it's the second one. Is it the second one? I haven't read this one, and it's Demon Stealer. It's written by Mark Gascoigne, and it's I believe it's part 2 or part 3. Yeah, so this is part 2 of this sort of Trolltooth Wars trilogy that was started with the first one, Steve Jackson wrote it. But yeah, it started with a burglary, blah blah blah, Chad of Darkmane. Yeah, so this one, it's some scroll's been nicked from Yastromo, and Chad of Darkmane's on the trail of the thief as the quest grows ever longer. His nagging doubts about the power of sorcery to turn into nightmares. So he goes along the pirate coast, twisting alleyways of Remon, where Darkmane's nightmares become flesh, for the thief has used the ancient scroll to summon others, demons, blah 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 blah. I suppose like a road movie, but we never read it. But if anyone's interested in the Demon Stealer, then it's there. And the third book is Shadow Master, again by Mark Gascoigne. It completes the trilogy. So Yastromo, for so long the self-appointed guardian of the lands of Darkwood Forest, cannot stand idly by while his countrymen are put to the sword. With Chad of Darkmane close at hand, Yastromo embarks on a quest to discover the source of the raids and the sinister reason behind them. Blah blah blah. So Yastromo has turned into a superhero. They're like an unlikely duo, and I've not read it, but maybe you have. Maybe you could put some stuff in the comments, tell me what it's about, whether you like it or not, whether it's worth bothering with. And indeed either of these three are worth bothering with, because I have, like I said, I have read Troll 2 Falls, but I don't remember what it's about or anything. So if you want to put some stuff in the comments about these three books, you are more than welcome to do so. Moving on, we've got The Casket of Souls, and this was a book by Ian Livingstone, illustrated by Ian McKagan. It's essentially a puzzle book, this one, and what you're meant to do, you're meant to go through each of these pictures has got a puzzle in it, and it's absolutely, the artwork in this, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, some of the artwork in this is astonishingly brilliant. You know, I love this book because I love this artwork, you know, and it's quite disturbing, some of it. I mean, yeah, look at that. God grief, you wouldn't want to come across that bloke on a dark night, would you? I mean, we're going to go through this, have a look at these. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen this, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, blimey, look at this. This used to be a shop down the end of the road called John and Julie's, right? And it was basically a picture frame shop, yeah. And this is where you could buy all the role-playing games back in the 80s. It's really weird, and that looks like the bloke who used to own it. But anyway, he's probably dead now. I don't know, maybe still alive. But yeah, it's a strange one. And look at, I mean, Casket of Souls. If you can find this, it's well worth having a look for this, because I mean, even though we've never ever completed this, and we don't even hope to complete it, the artwork alone, as a piece of fantasy art history, The Casket of Souls is, and the work by Ian McKagan is just so powerful and so unbelievably fantastic. It was worth the £4 I paid for it back in, when was it, 1987. So God, I must have saved up all my pocket money for a year to buy this. But anyway, yes, A Casket of Souls is a sort of a fantasy quest book, they call it, don't they? But I think if you completed this, there was a golden casket or something. Yeah, so if you can win a golden casket, and this is a free Mega Fantasy poster in the UK. It's offered these days, which we never got, which we should have done. But yeah, Casket of Souls. So I mean, really, we should have looked at this one first. But it's the Tasks of Tantalon, and it's the similar kind of thing. It's illustrated by Stephen Lavis. The art isn't as good as Casket of Souls, but it's still pretty nice. I mean, it was a more, well, it's not more simple, but some of the puzzles in this I solved, but not saying that they're easy, because we never solved the book, but we managed to get a couple of them right, and yeah, it's still pretty good. It's a fantasy quest book, so you go through each page has got a picture and a bit of art, a bit of text, and the text lays out the puzzle, and I'm pretty sure that the puzzle is in the picture. So like one of them, it'll give you a puzzle and you'd have to look for something in the picture, in that picture there, and yeah, it's good, but it was an odd book. It's for £3 back in 1985. This was first published. So yeah, Steve Jackson, even though he didn't write that many Fighting Fantasy core books, he was off doing sorcery and writing this as well. So yeah, Tasks of Tantalon, an excellent book. So another fantasy quest book is Helm Quest. Yeah, it's a very dubious title. I've never been on a quest to find a helm of any kind at all. This was released in 1986, and this one came with one of those Fighting Fantasy collector's bookmarks. So that's probably the only reason why we bought this, and probably the only reason why we still have it. But this is a more simplified version of the other two fantasy quest books, and it uses like sort of hieroglyphic type things, or characters like to you go through and you have to decipher the text, and there's a map at the back that's sort of Atlantis, and yeah, it's all right. It's a more simplified version. I think we didn't do too badly with this one. But at the end of the day, I don't think there were any more fantasy quest books made after this. So yeah, it sort of found its end with Helm Quest, if that. God, that sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? So moving on swiftly, because I don't want to bore you to death. But yeah, there was a guy called Jamie Wallace, and he set up a company called Myriador, and they converted various Fighting Fantasy game books to the D20 system, or the third Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition, which we never played, so we haven't played these. But he did the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. I mean, we haven't got the hard copies of these because they were really expensive at the time. But we bought the PDFs off him years and years and years and years and years ago, going back, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. But yeah, Warlock of Firetop Mountain, Forest of Doom. Okay, yeah, that one. Death Trap Dungeon, and the Trial of Champions is in there as well. There's it, Trial of Champions. There you go. Cabins of the Snow Witch. And he did the first 3 books of the Sorcery Epic as well. So there's the Shamu Tanti Hills, there's the Kari City brought traps in there, and he went on to do the 7 Serpents. But he never did do the Crown of Kings for obvious reasons, because it's too bloody big. We've never played these ones because we never played 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons for whatever reason. I don't know why. Probably because it wasn't TSR, because we love the original AD&D 1st edition, probably still do actually. But yeah, these are. I've read about these on the internet, and a lot of people say they're no good because they savage the original books, but then I suppose that's to be expected really, isn't it? Because, you know, they're basically conversions, but I'm glad they exist actually, because it's just another strange sort of thing to add to the fighting fantasy system. So if you're still playing 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, which you really shouldn't be at this point in time, then these are available somehow on the internet somewhere. I don't know. There's 8 of these, so yeah, if you're interested, go look for Myriador, Jeremy Wallace, Fighting Fantasy D20 conversions. Alright, blimey, I mean, we're getting stuck in here, aren't we? So, yeah, I mean, the next thing is Ian Livingstone done there's a 4-part series called The Adventures of Goldhawk, and these were designed for younger children, and these were released in 1995, so I don't know what the point in these were. Maybe they were trying to stay relevant, like we keep saying, but there's 4 of these. There's the Dark Moon's Curse, there's Ghost Road, Mudworm Swamp, and not Demon Stealer, what's it called? Can't remember now, but there's 4 of these, and they're ridiculously expensive. We got one of them back in the day, but we never got the other 3, so, and I don't think we're probably never going to get them. But I think they're cheaper in the United States, but it's not the same. It's not got the same covers. But yeah, these are very, very simple books. I don't think they've got any stat rolling or anything like that. So you just the rules come through as you play the book, and there's not that many. There's only 20 odd things, and the artwork's not that great, you know. But it's for young kids, so it says First Fighting Fantasy Adventures there. But yeah, the Adventures of Goldhawk. I mean, if you know anything about these or where I can get them at a reasonable price, then let us know down in the comments, because we would like to get the rest of these, but they're just, some of them are 200 quid, you know, on eBay, Amazon, whatever. So yeah, Goldhawk. Not the greatest books in the world, but you know, for completionists, it's got to be a must have. So here I'm spoiling you now. I mean, here we go. Look, we got the Ian Livingstone's Freeway Fighter comics. There's 4 of these were published, each with different artwork. Like there's multiple different types of art for each one, and they've even got the green spine stuff on the back there. See, so you got. I haven't actually bothered looking through these. They just went straight on the shelf and they've sat there. I dug them out just for you. So you got Freeway Fighter issue 1. We've got Freeway Fighter issue 2. We've got Freeway Fighter issue 3. Don't know about that. Is that a Mexican wrestler? Freeway Fighter issue 4. Alright. You know, like I say, they all had different artwork, but we didn't bother getting all the different things because we're not completely sad. But let's have a look at what's inside one of these, just to give you a taste of what the artwork's like. So it's just sort of standard sort of fair graphic novel, pretty good quality. Yeah, like I say, we didn't bother to read these. They just went straight on the shelf. I'm a bit ashamed of that, really admitting to you. But yeah, you got what's this here? Got some comments here. Look. So printed some comments in the back. You know, it's just quite nice. So yeah, so maybe these will be collector's items in the future. Yeah, so I mean, look, there you go. So you got the variant covers in the back there. We didn't bother getting them all. But I'm sure there's some sado geek machine out there that's got all billion different iterations. And Freeway Fighter, the comic. We're not comic geeks, but it's just because it's got the Fighting Fantasy logo on there, we thought we'd have to add it to our collection, and we did. So there you go. So we're getting there. We're almost at the end of this road of Fighting Fantasy, and I thought we'd end on a high, but we're going to do another episode. But we'll tell you about that in a minute. Thought we'd end on a high, and these are my two favourite Fighting Fantasy books ever, and I'm so glad that these were made. This is Jonathan Green's "You Are the Hero" Part 1, and what a book! It's a coffee table book, yeah. And it's the first part of this goes through the you got the Tales from the Black Lobster Tavern, the background, how to negotiate this history of Fighting Fantasy Gamebooks. Then You Are the Hero, and it's huge. Look at that size of that, it's huge. This just goes through everything to do with Fighting Fantasy, about the Magic Quest, you know, the original artwork from Russ Nicholson there, and it goes all the way through. I mean, there's no content in here, which is a bit of a bummer, which would be nice, but there isn't any. But it goes all the way through to Bloodbone Tale of the Werewolf, Mr. Green. What, another one, will you? That's not a request, that's an order. It goes all the way through to the new books. Talks about everything, the apps, into digital stuff, you know, whatever. So it goes on about Twitter, Blood of the Zombies. This is the geeks will inherit the earth. No doubt they will if people are going to buy this. I mean, it's 40 quid. Grief, did we pay that much for it? It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You Are the Hero. There's still copies of this knocking around. So if you are interested in Fighting Fantasy and you want a comprehensive, fantastic read that you can keep coming back to and it will be with you for the rest of your life before you're in a box 6 feet under, this is a book that you want to own. And stay right there because we're coming back in a sec. Because he's done a second one. It's You Are the Hero Part 2. Yes, he's done another one. It's not as thick as the other one, but because that one was so comprehensive. There's more stuff to talk about for Fighting Fantasy, and he's gone through. What's he gone through? I don't know. There's some strange looking people and some children dressed up in some stuff, which is a bit odd. I don't know who they are. Cosplay sort of thing, maybe. Fighting Fantasy Fest. There you go. What else we got? The upgrade of Firetop Mountain, and we've got Demons of the Datasphere. There's Mage Hunter, just to make you feel a little bit sick if you've paid 250 quid for it. Curators, Fighting Fantasy Collectors. Is that me? I'm not a collector. It's got Jamie Fry in it, and I know he's active on the forums, I think. And does it mention Mark Lane? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm going to mention him anyway because he's quite a nice bloke. Or he seems like quite a nice bloke. But what else we got here? Loads of stuff about the comic kinds of Port Peril, the limited edition, which we got signed by. That 500 copies signed by Ian Livingston, which we have up on the shelf of shame up there. And then we got the absolutely god-awful artwork from the new Scholastic books, which should be banned because it's an insult to humanity, and the manatees. Look, I don't want to end this on a low, so I'm going to try and find something that's nice to look at rather than that sort of gag. And I'm not talking about Ian Livingston with his aged balding head, but that horrible monstrosity here. But let's try and find something that's nice so we can end on a high. See if we can find something quick. Here we go. My favourite game book, or one of the favourite game books. We got this swamp thing, or the whatever it's called, from Kare City Port Traps. So You Are the Hero Part 2. Let's hope there's going to be a Part 3, Mr. Green. I know you're watching Part 3. Yeah, so we're going to come back, right, because I'm sure you've had enough, but I said we weren't going to finish on 13 because it'd be unlucky, but I've had a look and there's one more thing we haven't covered. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? Warlock magazines. And it just so happens that there's 13 issues of Warlock magazine, but we don't have them. We don't have our copies of them because they got nicked when I was a kid. Some unscrupulous resident of Port Blacksand nicked them off me when I was interested in other stuff. We've got the PDFs, and what we'll do, we'll go through the PDFs with a little toothpick, and we'll go through them, and we'll pick out some nice stuff. So we'll do that. We'll do that we'll live stream that or something. We'll do something, and that will wrap up. And I promise that'll be it. 13 episodes. No more fighting fantasy for you, me, or anything. Yeah, if you like this video, and if you like these 12 up to now 12 videos that we've done, please consider subscribing to the channel, because that will help us grow and it will help us bring you, our wonderful people out there, more stuff to watch and more interesting things to put inside your brain, because they do say that 99% of my brain is not used or filled with stuff that is pointless, right? So if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time.